loves, and thank you so much for joining me back here. Today we're doing an oldie but a goodie. We are doing the mid-year book Freakout tag, right? Yes, I do this tag every year. I think it's super fun. It kind of gives me just a little gauge of how my reading is going for the year, and kind of sets my expectations for how I should approach the latter half of the year. So that's what we're doing today. You know the drill by this point if you've been on my channel for any time at all. If you've been on BookTube for any time at all, everyone's doing this. You'll see it a lot. Let's go. Question number 1 is best book you've read in 2023 so far. I've done a lot of rereading this year, so I don't have a lot of new books to really choose from. I'm going to try to choose new books for my answers, but I'm sure some of them might be rereads. I can't pick just one. So I'm going to go by genre for my answer. So I will say I'm currently reading, where is it? I'm currently reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, but I am not finished with it yet. I'm on chapter 33, page 423. There's right at 500 pages in this, so I have less than 100 pages in this. Guess I might know what I'm doing tonight. But anyways, I don't feel I can justly say that this is the best fantasy book I've read this year because I have not finished it. And for me, endings make or break a book. But this one's going to get an honorable mention. It might be the best fantasy book if it has a great ending. Ange says it does. I trust Ange with my whole heart. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and include it. But just in case, I did read An Ember in the Ashes this year by Sabaa Tahir. I have technically read this one before, but I listened to it on audiobook the first time, and I retain a lot less in audiobooks when it comes to fantasy. I just do better reading fantasy in a physical format. So reading this year was almost like I was reading it for the first time. I did not really remember anything. I did not see any of it coming, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I have a reading vlog for it if you want to go check out some more in-depth thoughts. There's a reason the series is so hyped, and I think it deserves it. I tend to stick to my little niches. I stick to fantasy, rom-coms, and thrillers for the most part. I do have a nonfiction best book of the year so far. I recently read Jennette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died. This is her, I don't know if it's a memoir. It's not like a full-on autobiography of like her entire life. It mainly focuses on her relationship with her mom and the trauma that it kind of caused in her own life. But I listened to this on audiobook. I finished it last night and I am blown away. I'm trying to think of what to say without going too in depth into my own life, but I did not have the greatest relationship with a parent. This one was my father. I have a great relationship with my mother. She's my best friend. I love her. I talk to her every day, but I did not have the greatest relationship with my father. There are a lot of things about that relationship that kind of just never go away that I just constantly go back to and I constantly think about. And my relationship, my childhood was by no means traumatic or harmful in any way, the way that it seems hers was. But I think just reading about her experience and her relationship with her mother, I just kind of resonated with that because I did not have a great relationship with my father. There were a lot of things that I was never... See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to play the victim. I was not abused. My father loved me, but he was very manipulative and just mentally draining. And so I kind of understand where she's coming from. This is supposed to be a happy video. All that to say that when my father died, there was also a little bit of relief. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to read this book for yourself, I definitely recommend looking up trigger warnings. It deals heavily with eating disorders of a variety. That's a big one. Parental abuse, both physically and mentally. There's just a whole lot going on here. And I just found her story so... It feels almost wrong to say intriguing to talk about someone's trauma and hardships growing up, but it was just... It drew me in. I was fascinated. I don't know. I felt connected to her while I was reading this, and it was fantastic. I enjoyed it way more than I ever expected to. I'm not a nonfiction reader, but this one kind of blew me away. I don't have my copy with me. I lent it out to friends. Guys, all of my books are just everywhere right now. I've been lending out my books left and right to my friends. But my favorite rom-com of the year so far is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I love Sarah Adams. If you're not new to my channel, you know this. I say this all the time. I love her. When in Rome is the first book in the When in Rome Kentucky, the Rome, Kentucky series or whatever. It follows Noah and Amelia. Amelia is a famous pop star. She ends up in Noah's front yard and it's kind of forced close proximity. He's the grump, she's the sunshine. Fantastic. I'm still on question number 1 and my timer says like 8 minutes. Ugh! For thrillers, my favorite thriller so far is Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. I don't know. Fantastic. Blew me away. Multiple point of view, kind of flash forward, flashback, well, flash into the present, and then it kind of flashes into the past leading up to the present to kind of help you figure out the mystery, the murder, the disappearance, whatever. In this one, a little girl has disappeared, and it starts the story out with her escaping from her kidnappers, and she ends up home, and so the story starts flashing back to the past to figure out how and who kidnapped her, and then what also happened to her mother, because the same night that she was kidnapped, her mother also disappeared. So that's what this one is about. I thought it was fantastic. I listened to it on audiobook. It was great. It's great, obviously, because it's the best thriller of the year so far. Moving on to question 2. Best sequel you've read so far in 2023. A lot of these sequels I've read have been for a series that I have already read, and I don't really want to use any of those. I will use Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This was a new release. I think it came out in May. Again, this is part of the When in Rome series. This is book 2. She plans to write books for all of the siblings for this little town, world, whatever. This one is more on the steamier side for Sarah Adams, but it's still closed door clean. She did write an open door epilogue, like bonus epilogue. You can find the PDF for it. That was still pretty tame and pretty clean. I love this one. This one follows Annie, who is Noah's sister from the first book, and Will, who is Amelia's bodyguard from the first book, and he is going to be her fake dating coach. Her dating coach, it's not really fake dating, her dating coach to teach her how to find her forever husband. It was fantastic. I loved it. Question number 3 is new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. I guess Fourth Wing, but I'm already reading that one. Oh, I do have one. What's the name of it? The Pocket Pair by Emma St. Clair. This one is the next book in the She Cake series. I love Emma St. Clair. This is no new news. She's fantastic. New releases I want to get to. Question number 4. I can't choose just one. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have pre-ordered a Soul of Ash and Blood. Is that the name of it? Get out of here, Prime Day. I don't care about your little banners. Yes, I've pre-ordered a Soul of Ash and Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. It is the next book in the Blood and Ash series. It comes out this month, July. By the time this video goes up, it might already be out. I don't know yet. Well, I guess we'll see. So yeah, I'm super excited for that one. Pre-ordered it, ready to go. And then I am also excited for, what is it, the Iron Flame? The second book in this one. I think it comes out in November, October, sometime this fall. The second one for this one comes out. And I'm excited for that one as well. Question number 5 was biggest disappointment. I don't remember being disappointed by a whole lot this year, which is good. Yeah, no. I went through my Goodreads. I've liked every book that I've read this year. Again, though, a lot of them have been rereads, and of course you reread the ones that you like. But yeah, I have not been disappointed this year. That's actually great that I don't have an answer for that question. Question number 6 was biggest surprise. Again, I'm glad my mom died. I was blown away by how much I liked that one. I'm also going to throw in another nonfiction that was more of a resource. Save the Cat Writes a Novel. I was surprised by how helpful I found this in my writing process. This is not a writing vlog. This is not a writing video. It is a reading video, but I did read this and I found it very helpful. I was surprised by how helpful I found it. Question number 7, favorite new author, debut or new to you? I'm going to say Sabaa Tahir. New to me, not new at all. These came out years ago. My books are about to fall. I hear them moving. Came out years ago, but this was the first time I read them. I love her writing style. I love her stories. I thought she was great. The only thing holding back Rebecca Yarros is her writing style. She has a tendency to write in very lengthy, wordy sentences, and while they are grammatically correct, they end up being very long, and they kind of slow down the pacing in my mind and kind of bog down how quick I'm reading, so that's the only thing holding me back from her. It is what it is. Question number 8, newest fictional crush? Elias. Elias. I love Elias. Guys, I guess maybe this one was pretty good this year because it's been my answer for quite a few questions. Elias is so fantastic. I also do enjoy Xaden. I do like Xaden. I just don't feel like we've gotten enough of him yet. I don't know. Super slow burn. Super slow burn. Also Noah from When in Rome. I love him. I love him. He's one of my favorite, he's one of my favorite male romantic comedy protagonists right now. I love him. Here's Ghost. Question number 9, newest favorite character. For this one, I will use Fourth Wing. I really do enjoy Violet's character. She's the main female protagonist in this book. I like how bold she is. I like how brave she is. I like that she doesn't really back down from anything. And I also really love Liam in this book. If I were in this world, I probably wouldn't choose Xaden. I would probably choose Liam. So maybe Liam is also another one of my favorite fictional crushes. Maybe I'll replace Xaden with Liam because I would choose Liam. Question number 10, book that made you cry. I have not cried this year, but I will say, again, I'm glad my mom died. Pulled at my heartstrings a lot. Oh, I also almost died in... This one, A Torch Against the Night. The end of this one, I didn't cry, but I was like, I was pretty close. It was intense. Question number 11, a book that made you happy. Again, any of the rom-com books. Let me see if I can pick a different one. So it's still another Sarah Adams book, but I'm going to choose The Match by Sarah Adams. Again, another rom-com. This one is a single dad rom-com romance. I'm trying to talk too fast. Single dad romance. Has disability rep. She has, I think it's epilepsy. The main character has epilepsy and helps run like a service dog business. And the dad's daughter has epilepsy and has reached out to the main character, like inquiring about one of these dogs under the guise of her father's name. And so when our main female protagonist shows up to this meeting, she thinks she's going to have the discussion with the dad, and the dad really has no idea because the daughter set up the meeting. It's great. It's fantastic. It made me happy. Found family, sweet vibes. Caretaker trope is in here a little bit. Made me happy. Than any other Sarah Adams book. I just don't want to sound like a broken record. When in Rome probably made me a little bit happier. Let me just say that. Question number 12. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. I don't buy a ton of books. I read a lot digitally or through my library, but this one is, I did buy this one and I love it. It's the gold, just like, it's so bright and shimmery. I think it's fantastic. I know some people have the like sprayed edges. My heart is happy for you if you have one of those copies. This is just plain Jane, but it's still beautiful. Question 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Okay, so I do need to finish Fourth Wing. After Fourth Wing, I need to read this, A Light in the Flame by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is book 2 in the Flesh and Fire series. So this is like the spin-off series for Blood and Ash. So I need to read this one before the new Blood and Ash books comes out. So after this one, I'll read A Soul of Ash and Blood. I can never remember the name of that book. I also will be pre-ordering Iron Flame, the second one for this one that comes out in the fall. I need to go ahead and do that before I forget. That one will be read by the end of the year. I need to talk to Ange about this one because we are buddy reading these together, but I do want to read, what is this one? A Reaper in the Gates, at the Gates, A Reaper at the Gates, and A Sky Beyond the Storm. These are the last 2 books in the Ember and the Ashes series. We are buddy reading these together though, so I don't, like, I would like to read them before the end of the year, but if she doesn't have time, then it's not the end of the world, you know what I'm saying? I've also heard great things about the Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I bought it because I heard great things about it. So this one is like a hopeful, like it's not like a priority. I would say the ones up to this point are a priority. Like I want to finish those before the end of the year. This one is a hopeful, just because I've heard good things. I actually hauled the second one for like $4 yesterday. So I'm super excited about that. Got it on sale. So now I just need the last one, but I don't think the last one is out in paperback yet. But this one's a hopeful. And then last hopeful is Royal Gone Rogue by Emma St. Clair. This is her second royal rom-com. Royal rom-com. I read her first one. What is it? Royally Rearranged. And it was fantastic. I love Rafe. I think he's great. But I read that one last year. I bought this one when it came out. But I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I haven't made it a priority. Really what it is it's downstairs on my TBR shelf and I just forget that it's there whenever I go to pick up my next book. That and like a lot of my physical reads have been new releases that I'm just like excited to get to. So this one is also a hopeful before the end of the year. Next time I physically pick up a rom-com, it'll probably be this one. So there we go, an hour later. Here is the mid-year book Freakout tag. I know this was long. I had a lot to say. Apparently, I did not realize I had a lot to say. And I have a bad problem about not planning out my answers. I just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do this video today, and I sit down and I don't think about my answers before I read the questions. What you see is what you get. That's on me. You have to suffer through it if you watch the whole video, so I'm sorry. But thank you for watching the whole video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe down below and leave a comment. Let me know if you read any of these, what your thoughts were, and what I should make a priority for the last half of the year. I hope the first half went well for you guys. I know it's been pretty good for us. You guys are awesome. I am so thankful for you, and I'm so blessed to have you here on my channel. And we'll meet back here next time. See ya!